The fallout from Israel Arsbender Adesanya's cringe-worthy appearance in the octagon facing off with Dricus Du Plessis on the weekend is in full flow, and a lot of commentators are literally pointing out the fact that this does not look good for you. You were a complete and utter embarrassment. The cringe keeps on coming for him. He posted a picture with Zuckerberg yesterday. The dude is in better condition than Israel Adesanya, and his chest and nipple area were going in all different directions. So again, nothing but cringe for Adesanya. And across the board, we have people like Chael Sonnen, Michael Bisping, Weighing In Podcast, John McCarthy, Josh Thompson, pretty much all saying the same thing, that this is not a good look for Israel Adesanya and is quite embarrassing, and he has totally and utterly become the heel. But what I'm going to show you here is a complete and utter inverted opinion on this whole situation, and it's not from Ariel Helwani, the absolute nutter rat. That's been covered very well in the last 2 days by other people. This is from the great Brendan Schaub. Let's have a listen. So first of all, he starts talking about the situation. He says that he's a bit of an idiot and he doesn't know much, which again we can all understand. This guy misses the complete and utter narrative by a mile. He starts by saying that this whole racial situation between Israel Arsbender Adesanya and Dricus Du Plessis was started by DDP's coach.
DDP's coach tweeted out before. I think even I forget when it was on his Instagram, but he's talking about his 8%.
So he tweeted it out on his Instagram. Okay.
8% breathing. And then he's saying, Izzy, we're coming for you. You're not even a real African.
So he says that DDP's coach says that you're not even a real African. And we have the tweet that was put out on Instagram, if you can make sense of that, right here. So I'm not going to read through the whole thing because it's been done in the last few days, but I am going to get to the real African quote. As proven, Dricus, the real African with the African passport, finished his careers like he did in his last 3 fights in the UFC with only 8% oxygen. Just imagine what he's going to do to the New Zealander with a full gas tank. So I don't see where he says, Israel, you are not a real African, or you're not the real African. I can guess that there's the connotations there when he says that Dricus, who is really African with an African passport, who lives and breeds there, maybe that's where Israel's getting his thing from. But I guess that's where Schaub's getting his info too.
So check your passport. You're the one that moved out of here. You're not a real African. The true African is to be champion. And that's when it gets dicey. This is two-sided. I think it's a huge mistake by DDP's coach.
So we see that it was a massive mistake by DDP's coach. Nothing that Israel did or has said was a big mistake, but this is a massive mistake. And we know that this was in response to Kamaru Usman, who stuck his nose in there as well.
And so just because you went over to South Africa and you were raised there, that doesn't make you African.
Just because you went over and you were raised there doesn't make you South African. He was actually born there. So listen, this has all been covered.
Izzy's from Nigeria, right? He's Nigerian. Mm-hmm. So you got to remember, Izzy was born in Africa, moved to New Zealand when he was a young kid, and got bullied because he didn't look like the other kids in New Zealand. So
oh, you can see where this has been painted. He got bullied. He got bullied in New Zealand because he didn't look like the other kids. Okay.
He grew up with that fire in his belly, not fitting in, getting made fun of because he didn't look like a New Zealander.
This sounds pretty much like every single movie script that you'll see in 2023, every single advert, every single TV show, and the majority of far left-leaning crazy tweets coming through the internet where people believe that there's this huge threat of white people bullying and attacking black people, even though that there's contrary tweets been put out there every single day. Pretty much it's the inversion, and we know it.
You know, tremendous pride where he comes from and his roots in Africa. DDP's coach pokes that bear. And it goes deep for Izzy. You're talking about a guy, that's what makes Izzy who he is.
That's what makes Izzy who he is. You're poking the bear. What does he actually mean by that's what makes Izzy who he is? Who is Izzy? He's a guy who's very feminine, wears nail varnish, weird kind of interactions with male fighters, a lot of kissing of male fighters, stuff like that. Plays anime, Pokemon, all this sort of weird stuff. Lives in New Zealand. Fights out of New Zealand, also calls himself a Chinese fighter, as well as changing the accent to be a Nigerian when it suits him. This is very, very strange behavior. I don't think Izzy actually knows who he is, and he's a confused dude, and that's fine. The majority of the world are confused. But let's not just tag this that he's some like stoic fighter who doesn't like people talking down to him, and DDP's coach instigated this whole thing. Schaub is missing about 3 or 4 steps to this entire story. And for him to be there with his platform talking like this is pretty pathetic.
You're saying, you're not really an African. Man, you fucked up.
You fucked up.
Man, you fucked up. I'm going to tell you this now because
He's going to tell us now that this was a huge mistake. Absolutely huge mistake.
You know, I do think Izzy's the best fighter we have on the roster.
Again, this is crazy. He's the best fighter we have on the roster. There's no better fighter. Volkanovski's not better than him. Absolutely not. Okay?
And you're touching nerves in Izzy that haven't been touched before.
Oh, they've been touched before.
And you woke up the sleeping giant. It just so happens that sleeping giant is the best in the world.
Is he the best in the world? Can we have that conversation? Is there a case to be made for Robert Whittaker winning that last fight against Israel Adesanya? Is there a case for Pereira, who got caught in his last fight, but the fight before lumped him all over the ring, absolutely battered him? What about the toughest fight that he ever had against his bum chum from the other night, Kelvin Gastelum? There's so many instances, and we know that the ground game isn't there because when he went up in a weight, he got mauled and dropped like a wet shit. And there's an interesting caveat to this, because I pulled up this story from last night. Chael Sonnen was on Ariel Helwani, absolutely destroyed him. It was covered in another video by Guru, absolutely brilliant. But we also have articles like this. Chael Sonnen warns Conor McGregor that Israel Adesanya is coming for his spot. Izzy is coming for the top draw in the sport. What? This totally contradicts what you were saying on Ariel. And I've seen this a lot from Chael over the last few days. He covered the story of Israel and Dricus on his own channel and didn't go too hard on it. When he went on to Ariel, he pushed back a little bit. And then we have comments like this, that Israel is the top draw. I don't know how people have started to think that Israel is some sort of top draw. And especially after this weekend's performance, I don't know where that's coming from.
You could tell, like, even for DDP, he was uncomfortable in that inside the octagon. When
I don't think he was uncomfortable at all. I think that his composure levels were through the roof, and I think that Israel looked like an absolute fool. But I don't see Schaub calling that out here, which is interesting.
He was saying, you know, when Izzy was saying that N-word, yeah, and he was like, "You're not my brother," and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, DDP was like, what the fuck did I do?
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. He wasn't standing there going, oh my God, I shouldn't have said that I was born and raised in Africa and that if I won the belt that I would bring it back. No, he wasn't saying that. He was looking the guy dead in the face going, you're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot. I'm going to break you up.
I want to see now if DDP's team runs with this still.
You're acting like this is a one-sided narrative that Israel hasn't completely and utterly lost his mind over the last 3 or 4 days. And pretty much 90% of the MMA community aren't looking at him going, oh my God, he's losing it. This is going to be terrible for him. This is an absolute terrible decision by this guy. Leave it go. Nothing was said. You're 100% in the wrong.
I'm just curious if DDP's team now is going to, let's pull back on that. It's too late. It's too late. You're dealing with an African elephant in Izzy that never forgets.
Oh man. Sometimes you watch these guys and you think, is this real life? Are you actually believing what you're saying? You're saying that DDP's team, Dricus Du Plessis included, are sitting there right now in the aftermath of this fiasco and they're thinking, should we pull back on this rhetoric? They have not said or done anything wrong. Whilst on the flip side of this coin, Israel Adesanya has lost his mind. He is spouting racial terms left, right and center. Him and his special needs brother are talking about apartheid. And I can tell you now from the level of IQ that I've seen from Israel, he doesn't understand that either.
To be motivated and focused and bring out the best in Izzy, my God, did you do it? And I think it got you the title shot, but your coach fucked up.
So DDP's coach fucked up because he said that his fighter had an African passport and now you're going to face the wrath of Israel Arspender Adesanya.
Your coach fucked up. I really believe that. I think you woke up a sleeping giant and you're going to get the best version of Izzy. Boy, is that tough to beat.
It's going to be a tough fight. It is going to be a tough fight. He's 100% right there. The thing that I believe in my heart of hearts is that if Dricus Du Plessis does put his hands on Israel, closes the distance and really gets inside, then we have an upset coming and you can imagine what the gaslighting is going to be after that.
Du Plessis looked like he was uncomfortable with all this. He didn't look like he was, it looked a little uncomfortable. Yeah. Like he's like, oh shit, yeah, here we are. My coach said that, and I gotta defend this. Good luck, man.
My coach said all this stuff, and now I gotta defend it. That's what Dricus Du Plessis was thinking in the octagon, according to Brendan Schaub. An interesting take, a deluded take. Yeah, we'll go on.
I'm telling you, fucked up. Yeah. You're talking about a guy that doesn't forget. He's a baby elephant. He's a baby African elephant.
This is embarrassing. He's a baby African elephant. Okay, cool. He's a baby African elephant. People are tweeting on Instagram. This guy's legit.
So whether you want to ride with it or not, you might as well go full heel with it and build this fight up. Because if you start backing off like, listen, we made some mistakes. We realize he's from Africa. Get the fuck out of here. Because you said that. Izzy's not going to let it go. Yeah. So
there's actually nothing to back up and retract from Dricus Du Plessis' team. I have no idea what he's talking about. And he definitely doesn't know what he's talking about either.
So you might as well lean into it and build this fight up. Then after, be like, dude, I was just trying to sell tickets. But right now, if I'm advising him, this can be painful. You need a lot of hate, dude. And I heard even in like anytime he posts anything, even the comments are like, "Oh, the real African," like making fun of him. You know?
Oh my God! Like, how deluded is he? Does this guy actually know what's going on in the world? He is saying that Dricus Du Plessis' posts on social media are getting so much hate. Oh my God, man. Check out the amount of hate coming towards Israel Arsbender Adesanya after this weekend. It is incredible. I haven't seen this much hate aimed at a UFC fighter since Paddy Pimblett lost to Jared Gordon and got the win by the judge's decision. I haven't seen somebody's star starting to deplete as fast since that. And let me tell you, if Izzy continues on the route that he's going, there's no covering it up. Schaub and Ariel can try direct the narrative as much as they want. There is no covering it up. He looks like an absolute idiot.
Oh, so you're going to have to lean into that. You got to be the heel for Izzy here.
You got to be the heel for Izzy here. All I'm hearing from the MMA community is Israel Adesanya is the heel. He has made this about something that it was never about, and it's disgusting that he did it. He has made it about race. Chael Sonnen has said it. Michael Bisping has said it. All the top commentators are saying there was no real need to make this about race. Dricus was talking common sense about where he was from. Dricus is not the heel here. His team do not need to apologize and retract statements. None of them are uncomfortable with what they said, and Dricus is definitely not uncomfortable with what he said. This is a complete and utter deluded take, and I had to bring it to you. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do me a favor if you can, maybe hit subscribe or share the video. I appreciate it. Cheers.